Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. So let's start with today's session. I just see 4 guys today. Okay, no problem. Let's see what we can do today. So let me quickly share my screen, and before I start, did anyone try setting up SonarQube guys by yourself? No one, I believe, correct?
Yes, Rohit, I completed Sonar Q tests. I didn't take in any Docker. I installed manually and I completed them.
Yeah, no problem. So did you do Sonar break? It worked for you?
Yeah, break also is working.
Perfect. Okay guys, just try it by yourself, and if you need my help, then I can do the reiterate Sonarchy for you guys. Today my focus area is database automation. That is what something we'll do today. But I just have 4 guys today. Okay, no problem. We are just recording this session. No problem. Okay, so database automation is the third project which we were supposed to do. Till now we did ASP.NET web application. So till now we were talking about front end. We haven't spoke about the back-end automation yet, but this is the use case which you will find in many companies. They are all focused on front-end automation. They talk about application automation, API automation, and many things as such. No one talks about the back-end automation. I don't know why. So this is a classic use case, and this is something you can demonstrate as an extra skill whenever you're giving interview, that you know database automation also. So in order to automate database, there are multiple prerequisite guys. Okay, the prerequisite such as you will need SSMS tool. This SSMS tool is completely optional. So SSMS is nothing but it's a SQL Server Management Studio. This is how you connect to your database servers. This is how you access your database. This is how you can insert, do all sort of DDL and DML operations. Now this is why do I say SSMS as an optional, because I'll be using SSMS for creating packages. Okay, that packages I'll be storing in the drive for your access. So if you directly want to start using my package and start working on the automation part only, even that is okay, you can do that. Okay, but if you want to do everything from scratch the way I am doing, even you can do that also. Okay, now what are the prerequisite? The one is you need SSMS, and the second is we need Visual Studio, because I'll be using a database project as well. So plus, we don't have a SQL server, so I'll be creating a SQL server on cloud. I'll be using Azure cloud, and I'll be creating a Azure SQL server over there. Then I'll be creating a database. We don't even have a database, so we'll create a database, and manually I'll do some sort of deployments. So I have scripts, the scripts and everything will be shared with you. Manually I'll do some sort of deployment, because how will I come to know that if I automate the things, how will we come to know that we are doing on the same database? So yeah, so I'll have some manual deployment done. Post that, there is a package which I will create for database automation. There are two types of package which you will come across: a backpack and a DACpack. Backpack is basically backup packages. Backpack is not mostly used for automation, but this is basically used for lift and shift. If you're migrating from one server to other server, from on-prem to cloud, anything as such you are doing wherein you need a complete database backup, then at that point of time we'll be using Backpack. Backpack is basically, it will have all the schemas and it will have all the data. When I say schema, I'm talking about the structure of your database. I'm talking about the tables, the store procedure, the function, the views, and everything. Okay, so I'm talking about the complete schema plus the data. So the Backpack packages are basically used for lifting and shifting your complete databases. So this is not used for automation purpose. You cannot use it in your CI/CD, but yeah, if you want to, migrate from your on-prem to your cloud, or from one server to other server, and you want to migrate the complete database, then the backpack option. So suppose if I'm taking a backpack, if I'm creating a backpack at this point of time, so till 8:40 my time, I'll have all the datas in it. After that, if there's any transaction happening, your backpack will not have those datas. Keep that in mind. Now, what do we use for automation purpose? Now, what exactly this backpack? So this is a backpack, is nothing but a data tier application packaging method by Microsoft. With this method, you can have the CI/CD pipelines created, and you can automate your database creation, database object creation task. Now, this is again this is a tool by Microsoft, guys. This tool, when you create the initial backpack, when you create the initial backpack package of your database, it will only have the schema such as your object, table, function, etc. It will not contain the data. For DAC packages, this is a packaging method for database automation. It will not contain any data. Just keep this in mind. It will only contain the structure of your database, not the data. Okay. Now you will have many questions like, okay, only the structure, so that means I can create tables, I can create stored procedure, I can do those things. What about data insert? Like if I'm creating a table, I need to insert data also. How do we handle those things? Yeah, that can be, I'll show you how do we handle that part of automation. But for now, schema creations, schema alteration, that can be easily done using DAC packages. Okay, DAC packages again is a data tier application packages method by Microsoft. So all your SQL databases can be easily automated if you create a DAC package, guys. This can be easily automated using DAC packages. Okay, what we'll do this late. Now, what exactly is DDL and DML? That is something we'll understand, and what are the different set of scripts I'll be running? That is something we'll understand. Before that, the first thing is let's go and create a SQL server, because that creation may take time. So let me go on to the portal. This is the account which we were using. Now let me go and create a SQL server. I can have a SQL server created. Inside the SQL server, we'll have a SQL database created. Let's name it as devopsmela -rg. devopsmela SA. East US is okay. Authentication is okay. Or you can do one thing, you can all directly create a SQL database. It will automatically create SQL server also for you. This is the other way of doing. Either create SQL server first, then create a SQL database, then integrate both together, or directly create a SQL database, then there is an option to create a server over here. So both the things will be done at once. So I'm into SQL database right now. Give a database name, devopsmela DB. Now this is a place wherein you can create a server also. So I'll name it as devopsmela SA. Authentication method, use Azure AD, both SQL or AD, or just use SQL authentication. So I'll stick with SQL authentication for now and name it as devopsmela. Okay. Test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, done. Now SQL server got created. Now workload, this is very important. This is where the billing will happen. So I'll just select development, and if you see the compute, it is standard series Zen 5, 1 vCPU, 32 gig of memory. If you want to change, let's see if we have something more less. but this is just for testing we are using. See, this is general purpose which we're using, or if you want basic for less demand, you can select basic also. See the cost, how the costing is changing. The one which we had previously, the costing was, this is what the costing cost was all about. But if I just change it to something basic or standard, it is the data sizes of this. So you can change it depending upon your requirement. So mine is very minimum requirement which I have right now. So I'll still select, because this is a paid service, guys, this is not free. So make sure you have selected something very minimal, and once you're done with your task, make sure to delete everything then and there. How do you want the connectivity? I'll keep no access for now. Later I'll show you how to give access to someone. Then let's go and review and create. So two things we are creating. We are creating a SQL server and we are integrating a SQL database also. So let's go and create this SQL server. See the cost, 384 rupees INR, excluding the networking and all. The networking and all will be charged separately. Okay, so while the server is getting created, let me show you the scripts what I have. Okay, before that, let's talk about what is DDL DML operation. So DACPAC, as I said earlier, DACPACs only support DDL operations. DDL is basically data definition language. Data definition language means all your object creation, schema creation, table creation, alter, drop, all these are supported by DACPAC. Now these are the commands which comes in DDL: creating, dropping, renaming and alter. These are the command wherein you can have a table creation, database creation, schema creation, everything. This is something a DACPAC supports. These are the operation which is supported by DACPAC. Now let me tell you one important thing. You cannot have drop or rename like statement inside your DACPAC. DACPAC is very smart enough to understand what exactly, like suppose you have a create table statement and that table is already created on your database. So DACPAC will, when you are executing your pipeline using a DACPAC file, it will go and do the match. It will see if the table is already there. If the table is already there, the DACPAC will do nothing. It will simply ignore and exit out. If there is a change, suppose you have added a new row, so that like a alter statement. So you basically don't write alter, you put it as a create and you just add a new row. Again DACPAC will go and match. It will found that the table is already there, but there's one row which is missing. It will go and make those changes incremental. That is how DACPAC supports DDL operation. So all your commands in DACPAC will only start with create. This drop, rename and alter, this is not accepted inside your DACPAC. I'll show you what exactly I mean. You'll understand this. On the other side, the DML operations such as insert, update, delete, this is not at all supported by DACPAC. Once you create a table, if you want to insert any sort of data inside your table, that can't be done using a DAC packages. That needs to be executed separately. How do you execute it? How do we automate DML operation? That is something we'll see. DML is data manipulation language. So whatever manipulation things you do, inserting, updating, deleting and things like that, those are DML operations. So this is not supported by DACPAC. Just keep this in mind. Okay. So these are the operations supported by DACPAC, and the DML operations is not supported by DACPAC. Okay, my SQL server is ready. Okay, keep that in mind. Let me show you the scripts what I have. Okay, so these are the scripts. This is my insert script wherein I'm just inserting few values. This is my table creation script which I'll be creating manually. So it's a very simple create table course. It has 3 rows in it, varchar, rating. Okay, very simple table, and this is something we'll do it manually first. The second table which we have, the subject table, this is something we'll do it using automation, and this is the insert which we do using automation. Okay, so imagine there is a SQL developer who has created the script, has given the scripts to you to automate the complete deployment process, so that later whenever he creates a script, he just puts the scripts inside the repository and automatically the build and the release pipeline is running and taking care of things. Okay, so this is something what we want to achieve. So we have done SQL Server creation, database creation is done. Now let's go and do a manual deployment. How do we do a manual deployment? I can simply go to my SQL Server. This is the SQL Server. Now if I come down, there is a SQL database over here. This is my database. It is online right now. If I go inside my database, there is a query editor. So if anyone, if you don't want to download SSMS, it's a open source tool, guys. This is to connect to your database basically. It's to connect to your SQL Server, and it's to eventually connect to your database. And if you don't want to use SSMS because it's a big tool, if you don't want to download, it's open source, you can make use of this query editor also. So basically this is same like SSMS, it will let you connect to your database. Now this is asking for my user ID password. So the password is, let me put in the password and let me try to connect. Okay, now I got some error. An instance specific error occurred while establishing connection. SQL Server connection web was denied public network access. Now many of you will say you are trying to access from the portal, still it's denying. So when I was creating the SQL Server, remember I have denied all public and private access. So how do we allow my system, just my system, to access my SQL Server? I don't want to allow public domain so that everyone access my computer, access my server. I don't want that to happen. I just want to whitelist my system IP, public IP, so that at least I can access my SQL Server. So that whitelisting can be done. Just go back to your SQL Server. Go back to your SQL Server. Come down, there's an option of networking. Under security there's an option of networking, and you can allow, see, you can have private endpoints created, you can have access, select network. This was disabled previously. Now you can have your integration done with virtual network also. Just imagine you have your front-end application, your back-end application, and you just want access from your front-end, not from the back. Then in that case you can add your virtual network also over here. Even that option is available. Or in my case, I just want to allow my public IP. Do you see, this is my public IP, 49.36.99.240. This is my public IP. If I just add this, so I'm just adding a firewall rule, and I'm just allowing this particular IP to access my SQL Server. There are other ways. You can have a range, IP range, you can have a virtual network range, you can have a subnet range. All this level of security at the network layer, you can do it. And if you want to allow some private endpoints, remember endpoints, we have seen what is endpoints during the storage account. If you have created any private endpoints and you want your virtual network to connect to your databases only on the private endpoint, then you can also integrate that. Even that is available. You can also connect on-prem, guys. From here, if you want to connect to your on-prem VMs, even that is possible. Keep that in mind. So all sort of security connectivity is available. Now if I go to the SQL database and try to connect to my SQL Server, where is this query editor now? Let's see if it is allowing me or not. See, I'm inside the database right now. devopsmela DB is my database name, and if there's no table as such, it's completely blank database right now. So I was able to connect. If I want to run the queries, the manual query which I was talking about, I can go and copy paste and put it over here, and I can run the query. Or else, if you guys want to use SSMS tools, then we can go and use SSMS also. I just need this server name. Come to SSMS tool, click on connect, click on database engine, put the server name. Login is SQL Server authentication, that is something we have selected. Now password, put in your password over here. You will not have any issues connecting from your local also. The reason is you have allowed your public IP from your local system and you have whitelisted in the firewall rules. So even from your local, if you want to connect to your database, you can easily connect without any issues. Now if you see, I'm connected. I got the database devopsmela DB. Now if I want to run all my queries, I can directly run the queries over here. The same thing will reflect in my it will start reflecting in my database. That this is what a DBAs will be doing, manually running the query which is built by the SQL developers. It's a very simple create table script which we have created. Now if you see, the table was created. Now if I have the other script, the insert script, I can simply have this insert script and I can execute this insert script also. One row affected. Now if I want to view, select star from table name course. Do you see the data got inserted? You can run the same thing from your query editor also. It's the same thing. I just have to log in again. So this is how the manual deployment happens, guys. Now if I want to run the same query over here, you should get the same output. See the output? The data is inserted. So basically, we have created a SQL server, we have created a SQL database. Now using SSMS tool, we have deployed things manually. What did we do? We deployed things manually. Now I have again one more pair of scripts which I want to show you how do we automate this all manual process which I did. How do we automate this entire process? I want this scripts to be part of the next script should be part of my Git repository, and when it is part of my Git repository, I can easily use my CI/CD pipeline and I can automate this entire database process which is happening manual right now. Now this is what happens right now. Your database, your PL SQL developer, they write the script, they give it the script to the database engineers or the database support team, and they go and run these scripts manually on the production. That is the reality, guys. That is what happens right now. Okay, in most companies. Now using this automation method, the developers will not be dependent on DBAs. They can develop their own script. The script will be part of the repository, and once they push the things in the repository, automatically the build and release pipeline will start running and it will do the entire thing for them. There is no DBA involved anywhere. And by seeing the logs, you'll come to know whether the deployment was successful or whether the deployment has failed. That is something we can achieve it. Now how do we achieve it? What are the prerequisites? The prerequisite is you need to have a server created, So definitely if you work for any company and if you want to automate the database, they will have the SQL server and the database already, correct? The only thing you need to start doing is first is create a DAC pack. So this database needs to be created as a package first. So I spoke about two packages, backpack and DAC pack. Backpack is basically used for lift and shift for data migration, database migration. The DAC pack is basically you can use it for database automation. How do you create it? Very easy. You can make use of SSMS tool for creation. There are multiple methods, guys, for DAC pack creation. SSMS can be used, Visual Studio can be used, and there are manual PowerShell commands using which you can create the DAC pack. So this is the one-time activity which you need to do it. So I'll be using SSMS to create the DAC pack. For doing that, you can simply right click. Now there are tasks. See, export data tier application. This is where the backpack will be created. If I click over here, this is where your backpack will be created, guys, if you want to create a backpack. Okay. So this wizard will help you to export the schema and data for the database to logical backpack file format. So this is basically used by database support team for taking up database backup. So this is how, before doing any sort of major changes to the database, they go and take the backpack so that if anything happens, they can revert the backpack. This is what they do in reality. This is not what I want. So the next thing is task extract data tier application. This is what we want. Now this extract data tier application, basically the wizard extracts data tier application from an instance of SQL Server to a DAC packages. This is what we want, correct? So click next. This is the name of the DAC pack and this is the location where it is getting created. Let me create this on my desktop itself. Yeah. Are we on the desktop? No. Let me create it on my desktop. Next. These are the properties. Next. So the DAC pack creation is in progress right now. While this is getting created, this is just a package. So this package will not help you automate. You need to have a Visual Studio project created to use this package. You cannot open this package into a notepad or any IDE tool. You need to have a proper database project created in Visual Studio. Using that database project, you can extract this DAC pack which you're creating inside that database project. Once you extract it, you will have all the existing object. So why did I put things manual? Just to show you, when you create a DAC pack, these objects, the object which you have created, will be visible inside the project. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let's go to Visual Studio. Let's create a new project while the DAC pack is getting created. Now look for database project. If you see that this is the project, I don't SQL Server database project. Okay, before that I need a repository, guys. Let's go to our project, that is devopsmela. DevSecOps. Okay, so let's go and create a new repository. Name it as database automation. Okay, you can add a gitignore file for Visual Studio. Create. Let's clone this. Done. Now if you see, this DAC is also created, guys. See the extension DAC. You cannot open this file. It's a 3 KB file. It's a small database which we have created a DAC. It's a 3 KB file, and over here it is successfully created. Finish. Okay. Now you cannot use it directly. I'll show you how do we extract it. So we got a SQL Server database. Let's name this as whatever name you want to give. The project name, DB Auto, whatever you want to name it. The location, I'll select my repository location, this database location, so that my project should get created inside my repository. Create. All these steps, whatever steps I'm doing, everything is there inside my notepad. DAC creation, database repos creation, Visual Studio database project creation, importing DAC, then creating new table and things like that. Then you got your CI/CD pipeline creation. The steps are given. Make sure to follow the same sequence. Okay, so this is my database project, guys. If you go and see in the Solution Explorer, there is nothing right now. It's a blank database project what we have created. Nothing right now. Now in this blank database project, I can go and import these are the changes, my DAC. How do I import? I can simply go and right click on the top solution. On the top I can create solution, import. The option is data tier application. There are 3 ways you can import. You can directly connect to your database from here and create a DAC using Visual Studio tool also. But we already have a DAC, correct? We have a data tier application created. So I can simply go and select this option, browse, and where is my DAC? This is on my desktop. This is my DAC. I'll just import the DAC. As soon as I import, you see a DBO folder. DBO is nothing but database object, and inside this you will find a table. This is the table we created, correct? Manually. This was the exact table we created. So what did I say? Do you see the data anywhere? The insert which we did? No. What did I say? DAC will have only the schema of your database, not the data. So this is just your schema, the structure. Now your package is created, guys. You have the package. Now you can place this package inside your Git repository. Now this package can be placed inside the Git repository. You can set up a CI/CD pipeline, and then you can automate the entire process. Okay. Or else if you want to make any new changes now, last time we did the change directly. If you want to now, even now if you want to make any new changes, so what was the change? This create table, correct? So I can go and do one thing. I can directly copy paste this, have a new table created, go to Solution Explorer, right click, add. There's a table script. I can go and create a table directly from here, one way. Or second way, I can import the script directly. So in reality, developers are very comfortable writing these scripts, and if you ask them to go and use Visual Studio to start writing scripts, they will not feel comfortable. So because these scripts are auto generated, guys, they don't even write it. These scripts are auto generated using SSMS. Okay, so they are very much comfortable writing such scripts. So no problem, you can just simply ask them, go and right click, import. There's an option to script. You can go to the section where your files are. So this one is what? Subject. Okay. So this is the table. Create, finish. Done. And now if you see, you got a subject table also added to your DAC pack. Done. Save this. Make sure to build your project. If you don't build your project, this files will not be there inside your DAC pack. Now when you build, a new DAC pack will be created. See, this is the new DAC pack which got created. This new DAC pack, now if you go and open this DAC pack, you will find two tables inside those DAC pack. One is course and one is subject. Okay. And very important file, this SQL proj file. When you go and open this SQL proj file, this proj file will basically tell you what all things are getting deployed. This is not getting opened, I'll show you later in the repository. So this will show you, basically this proj file show you what exactly, because as I said, DAC pack you cannot open it directly. So using this proj file you'll come to know what exactly is getting deployed. Now this DAC pack will take care of your schema creation. What about insert? We have an insert statement also, correct? How do I insert? As I said earlier, this will not be done by DAC pack. Then how do you handle such things? This can be handled. Where is my? This can be handled using, I'll have a script folder created outside and I'll tell you how do I handle things. Script folder created. Inside script I can have some more folders created. Let's name it as post, wherein after my deployment this post script should run. And I'll copy my script over here. You can simply copy my script and keep it over here for now. I'll tell you how do I handle the insert later. For now I'm just creating a script folder. Inside the script folder I have a post folder. Inside the post folder I got my insert script added over here. Okay. Now if I go and see my commits, I got the script also. Okay. Now I'm done with my development. Added subject table and insert script. Okay, done. I'll do a commit. I don't have the pipelines yet, but don't worry, I'll create the pipelines now. Done. I'm doing the push. So my script is ready, my DAC pack is ready, my things are got pushed into my repository. Everything is in place. Now I want the CI/CD pipeline to be created. See, things are ready. I can go and use the pipelines, create a new pipeline. I can use both, guys. If I want to use YAML, I can simply go and use YAML. If I want to use classic editor, let's see classic editor this time. I can use classic editor also. So database automation main, continue. Now DAC pack, if you see, this is a .NET application, kind of a .NET application. We are using VS Build. So the build which we did, we are using VS Build. It's a Visual Studio project which we are using. So how do we, before that, let me show you the project file which I was talking about. If you come down, this is the proj file, guys. If you come down, in this include section, if you see, these are the two tables which is there inside your DAC pack. This include section is telling you what all things are getting deployed. Okay, so this is very important file to know what is getting deployed. If anything, if you see any of your object which is not there in this include section, that means that object will not be deployed. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Now this DAC pack is more like a SQL project, and this is a Visual Studio project which we are creating. It will require either a MS Build or VS Build to build this project. So what is the task you can select? You can use this .NET Window Classic Desktop option to build your project. The same thing you can use. Let me select this. You can have this NuGet installer, NuGet restore. This is completely optional, not required. You can simply ignore it. This is the build part which you can use it. Building the solution. This testing is also not required. You can have this building the solution. So this will take your solution file, it will build your application. Okay, and this is where your copy task will be. Now what exactly you're trying to copy? Basically you're trying to copy your script files. This is the script file which you're trying to copy, your SQL script. So you can simply have something like this added. You can have, or you can even have something like this added, start.sql. So all your script file will also get copied, followed by putting things into your drop location. Okay, and in your argument you can also have your DAC pack. See which visual, if you want to have some Visual Studio tool, you can use the Visual Studio tool also over here. And not just SQL script, there is one more file, a package file which you need to copy. That is your .dacpack file. So basically when this build will run, it will also create a new DACpack file. So this is the DACpack file which will eventually get deployed. So there are two things which I want to put in my build artifact staging area. One is a DACpack file and one is a SQL file. Everything will be kept inside my drop location. And why do we keep things in my drop location? So that my Azure release pipeline can access this. Okay. Now let me name this as database build. Okay. Let me save this and queue it. So basically whatever we did manually over here, we did a build by right clicking the build. We did a build, and what this build did, it created a new DACpack. That is what I'm doing right now with my pipelines. So this is like a local testing what we did. Now this is through pipelines we are doing, and with pipeline we got copy task, which is copying my DACpack file and my script file into my drop location. Okay, anyone, any questions, any doubt? This is something you need to do it today itself, guys. Try it by yourself. Don't keep it for weekend, because in doing the weekend you'll forget everything. So make sure to try your hands today itself. Done. My build is completed. Let's go to the artifact section and see. Now I got my script. Perfect. Now in this bin folder I should see my DACpack also. Perfect. This is what I wanted. I have a DACpack created. I got my script created. Now if you want to integrate CI/CD, you can go and enable the continuous integration tag by going into triggers and enabling this, and then you can start working on your release pipeline, so that later if the developer wants to do everything automatically, they can simply write the script, put it in the DACpack, push it to the repository, automatically your CI/CD pipeline will start working. Now let's go and deploy. Let's create a release pipeline. Let's keep it empty for now, and the source I'll select is the pipeline db build. If you want to enable continuous integration, just enable this. Task, let's name it as db release. Task, what we want to do, let's name it as dev db. The task is I need to deploy DACpack, that is on SQL Server. So I just write DACpack over here. So you should see DACpack task. There are two types of tasks: SQL Server Database Deploy, and there's one more task, Azure SQL Database Deployment. Azure SQL, basically if you have a SQL Server on cloud, this is the task which you will use. And if you have your SQL Server on your on-prem, this is a task which you will use. So I have my things on cloud, so I'll be using this task. I'll name it as DACPAC deployment. Okay, connection type I select as, this is my connection. SQL Server authentication, there are authentication type over here also, whether you want to use service principal, connection string and things like that. So remember, we have created a SQL Server authentication method. So I'll select that. It is asking for a SQL Server name. What is the name of your SQL Server? This is the name of your SQL Server. I just copy and paste over here. What is the name of your database? My name of a database is devopsmela DB. I'll put it over here. Login, I have used devopsmela. Password, as if now I'm putting the password directly over here, but this is not the right way of putting passwords, guys. This is kind of a security breach if you're putting your password like this in a plain text. Now what should you do if you don't want to put this password as a plain text? Create a key vault, put in your user ID password over there, and then integrate your key vault with your pipelines. So your passwords will be kept secured in your key vault. It will not be exposed to anyone. And whenever your pipeline runs, it will connect to the key vault, get the password, then your task will get executed. So that is the best way of doing. This is not at all the right way of doing. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now deploy type, it's a DACPAC file. So I want to do a publish. I'll go and select this DACPAC file. I'll browse to my drop location and I'll have the DACPAC file selected. I can also use the ** method. So basically I'm hard coding. Server name is hard coded, database name is hard coded, login is hard coded, password is hard coded, your DACPAC file is hard coded. Can we reuse this task? No. So how do you make this task reusable? By creating variables, defining everything as a pipeline variables. Okay, keep that in mind. Create it as a pipeline variable or create it as a variable group, up to you how you want to create. Come down. That's it. Now this will take care of my DACPAC deployment. What about script? What about script? I'll just clone this task. I'll name it as script deployment. And let me show you how do we deploy scripts, SQL scripts. Come down, everything remain as it is. The deployment type will change from SQL DACPAC file to SQL script file. And I'll go and select my script over here. Understood? Now once my deployment happens, my script deployment will also happen automatically. So though my DACPAC is not supporting all such insert DML statements, I have a different way out. I have created a script folder and putting all my script which needs to be inserted inside this folder. Makes sense? This is how differently I'm handling DML operations. So this will take care of my DDL operation, this will take care of my DML operations. Done. Save it. Create a release and try to run this and see if things are working. Okay, any questions, guys? There are so many things we did, and hopefully I think when you start practicing things, this is the third project. Make sure to practice, because if you don't practice, you will not understand anything. Okay, if anyone has any questions, please do let me know. No questions? No questions.
Are you still gonna talk about keywords at later time or?
Yeah, I'll use this same pipeline. I'll show you how the keyword gets integrated. Don't worry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
If time permits, we'll do it today itself. Okay, let's while this is running, let's go and create a key vault. Let's go. Okay, so key vault is basically what, guys? Key vault is the space wherein you can secure your keys, your certificates, your private public keys. Everything can be kept secure with HCM based technology which they use to make it more highly secure. Now passing the way I've inserted passwords, so my pipeline has failed, we'll see about that later. The way I've inserted password, that is not the right way. That's a security breach. Anyone can see what exactly is your SQL Server password. Anyway, anyone can view and you make use of those passwords. So keeping your password or certificates or any sort of connection string directly in a text form is not suggested. Forget about testing environment, forget about production. I will not even suggest in your testing environment. Now, how do I keep things secure? How do we keep things secure? So we have a method, we have a service called Key Vault service, which is not free. Again, it's a paid service. This vault, basically how you have lockers in your bank and you keep your precious item in the locker so that it is secure. There are multiple securities what banks provide. You got a gunman standing outside, then you got a very huge vault. Inside that vault you keep your precious item. It's the same concept over here. These passwords and these keys, these certificates are very precious for your environment. If suppose this gets leaked and if any hacker is able to find out, if you are keeping it in a text form, easily it is very easy for the hackers to find out what exactly it is. They can gain access to your infrastructure, they can gain access to your application, and they can do what not. Okay, so it's always recommended you should keep your precious items such as keys, certificates and things inside a vault. Whether you use a key vault provided by Azure, you can use other vault services. There are so many vendors out. Even AWS has its own vault service. You use whatever you want, but making sure you keep your things secure in a very secure location. Okay, so that no one, not even your administrators, not even your internal members know what exactly the passwords are. It is the only person who is creating the key vault, who is creating the key, knows it what exactly it is. And you can do key management also, like suppose you want to do a key rotation after 3 months, the password should change. So you have a centralized place wherein you are changing things. Now suppose if you're hard coding things inside your pipeline, now if you want to change your password, you have to go inside each and every pipeline and you need to go and change your passwords. But if you have a centralized location like a key vault, then you have a central location wherein you can go and change your passwords and things like that. Okay, so that is the importance of key vault. Let's go and select the same resource group, name this vault as devopsmela kg kv or whatever you want to name it. Region East US, standard pricing tier, I'll keep it standard. If you select premium, it is supported by additional HSM backed keys. So this is a costly affair, guys, so we'll stick with standard for now. Soft delete is enabled. Days to retain deleted vault, so I'll keep it 7, that is the minimum you can keep it. And purge protection, done. So this is the vault which is creating. Your keys are not getting added over here right now, so I will go and create the vault. Okay, while the vault is creating, let's see the error. So the error says the Azure SQL DACPAC task failed. The reason is exit code. Okay, the reason is given over here. A project with specific SQL Server 2016 and the target platform cannot be published to Azure SQL Server Database v12. What do you understand by this error? Anyone? A project with specific SQL Server 2016 as the target platform cannot be published to Microsoft Azure SQL Database v12. Anyone wants to try what exactly this error says?
I think the server we using is different from, or there's a difference in what we choose and what we're using for the build.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so basically this is telling that you're deploying things on Azure SQL Server Database v12 and the project which you're using is SQL Server 2016, which is a mismatch. So basically it is asking for this project, this part. The project which we created is a 2016. So if you go to database project properties and if you see the target platform set to SQL Server 2016, change this to Azure SQL Database, this one. Save this, make sure to build it again. Done. Push it. Updated SQL Server target platform. Okay. Now if you see what got updated, the proj file. This is important file, guys. Commit L and push. So we got CI/CD enabled. So the CI/CD will automatically trigger. Done. DB build is happening. Okay, while this is happening, go back to your key vault. Now you got your key vault created, guys. So over here if you see there are 3 objects. You can keep your keys, you can keep your secrets, you can keep your certificates, whatever you want. So what do we have? We have secrets right now, correct? Do we have a key? No. Do we have a certificate? No. What do we have? We have a database user ID password. So this is where you can go and create one. Upload option manual, or you have certificate option also. Name this, I name it as DB key, secret value. So what was the password? Test at 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Set activation date. Do you want to set it now itself? Yeah. Do you want to set expiration? You can set the expiration also. Yeah. So this is enable create. Okay. Now if you see this, if you go inside this, you have, so I have created this. So if I want to view this, I can click on show. No one else can view this, guys. So only people with the proper rights and access can view these keys. Not everyone will be able to view these keys. Okay. So this is my key. So one part is done. I got my vault created. I got my secret added. I just need to do the access configuration. That is something we'll see later. For now, let me see your build pipeline. Done. My release should have been created by now. Perfect. My release is also created and my deployment is happening right now. Okay. Let's wait while the deployment happens, or let's talk about access. Okay, my things are created. Now let's go and talk about access configuration. How do I give access? How do I give access to my vault? So I can go to access policy. This person got the access right now, devopsmela. So this person has all the access. But if you want to give a specific access to a specific service principal, then you can need to create an access policy. Okay. Now what type of permissions you want to give? You can select the permissions. Do you want to get permission, list permission, update permission, all this permission you can. Key permission, secret permission, certificate permissions. These are the permission which you can allocate. And there are other sort of permission, like do you want to give rotation permission, set rotation policy permission and all this. So you can go in, based on that you can select, you can filter out and you can give the permissions. Do next. Search for object ID and to whom you want to give access. So I want to give access basically to my service connection. Correct? Where is the service connection? This guy. This is, what is the name of my service principal? So I don't know the name. I'll just click on the service principal. I'll go to that part. And the name of my service principal is this. Copy this name and I'll just look for this name over here. Why this is not reflecting? It's there. It's hidden. Okay, done. Done. Review and create. What permissions you're giving? So basically you're giving access to my service principals now. So my setting is done. I've created the key vault, I've created the secret, I've given the required access. Now I need to integrate this with my Azure DevOps. How do I do it? So remember I spoke about variable groups, library. There is an option of variable group. Just name it as db_key. Do you see this option, link secrets from Azure Key Vault as a variable? Now this is the option you have to go and select. Your Key Vault name will be visible over here. Do you see your Key Vault name? This will be only visible if you have given the right access, guys. If you have made any mistake doing your access configuration, this part will not be visible. If this is not visible, go and delete your access, give the access again. And make sure, why did I go into the project setting and copied the right service connection name? Because if I missed anything over there, this part will not be visible. Okay. After this, if I go and add, you can see my secrets over here. Do you see DB key? This is something we have created. Do you see the password anywhere? No. Okay. Save this. Now you have integrated your key vault keys inside your variable as a group. Okay, this is still running. Why this is running from last three minutes? Let's refresh this. Okay. While this is running, I got this as a variable group. Let's go back to your release pipeline. Now how do you integrate with your actual pipeline? Very simple. Go to edit, go to variables, go to variable group, link your variable group, DB key. Done. Now what you have to do, you just have to copy this name, come to your task, in place of key. That's it. No one knows what is the password now. That's it. You're done. Just run the release. It will go and automatically fetch the password and it will deploy things for you. I'll show you. Let me just this is done. Now if you see the deployment, it took 4 minutes. I don't know. Okay, maybe it's a small server which I have. That's why it took time. Now if you go inside this, by seeing the logs, okay, why there is no logs? Okay, here we go. Now if you see this line number 22, a table got created, dbo.subject table. Now question is, we got two tables, correct? Course table and subject table. Why only subject table got created? So what did I say? DACPAC is very smart. DACPAC knows what you're doing. That it has already did the cross check and it found the course table was already there. So it simply went ahead and created the subject table for you. And if you go to your script, if you see, the script was executed. Insert script was executed. Now how do I verify? I can verify using my SSMS. I'll just refresh this database. Do you see the data, guys? Now you got the table created and you got data inserted, and you can verify the same by expanding this section and going to table section. See this table section? Do you see these tables? Course table and subject table got created. Now this was all created using automation pipelines. We have not created things manually. Okay, now the other part. Let me create a new release after making these changes. Release 3 got created. Now if you go and see, I'll not run the complete, I'll just show you how it is fetching the password from the Key Vault now. Now if you see this task, we don't have the password, hi. We have everything as variables. Now if you see this, downloading secrets, do you see this? Subscription, Key Vault name, downloading secret value DB key. This is how it will go and connect to your Key Vault, get your password. Once the password is there, it will start with your deployment process. This is how you will be integrating Key Vault. I'm just cancelling this, I don't want to run this unnecessarily. This is how, by integrating your Key Vault, by using the library variable group option, you will be downloading the keys. This is how, this is the right way of using the password. Again, a important security topic. That's it for me. If anyone has any questions, any doubt, please do let me know. And make sure to practice the same thing as it is. Follow the exact same process which I have followed, guys. And once you're done with this process, then try doing different R&Ds. I'm giving an offer, will be starting on March. Their platform is AWS. Ahmed, you can go on YouTube. On my channel, I have a free 2 hours video on AWS DevOps. So once you're done with Azure DevOps, okay, just go through it, go through that video. You'll understand how AWS DevOps works. Okay, so just go through it, you'll understand that. AWS DevOps is not that big. It's very small in front of Azure DevOps. This is very small. So just go through the video, you'll understand AWS DevOps. Okay. Okay guys, any other question?
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, Rohit, I
Let
have
me
one
know.
question. When we start the Terraform session, Rohit, when we start?
Terraform. Next week. Yeah, I'm thinking to start Ansible on Monday. Today's what, Wednesday, correct?
Okay.
Today, yeah. So Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, I'll need two more days for Azure DevOps because there are several other things like service now, not service now. Uh, Service connection. We got AD integration. We got permission. There's small topics left in Azure DevOps. Nothing much. All the three major project has been done. There are small topics. So this 2 days I'll basically take to cover those topics. And Monday I can start Ansible or Terraform, whichever you guys like. So I think we'll start with Ansible first, because again Terraform, when we do Terraform, we'll come back to Azure DevOps again, because I'll show you how do we integrate Terraform with Azure DevOps also. So basically I can start with Ansible first, couple of sessions for Ansible, then we'll have couple of sessions for Terraform. So maybe next week. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for the info.
No problem, guys. Any other questions, guys? If no questions, I'll
Rohit,
open the resource.
one question
Tell me.
regarding the key vault we are integrating with the pipelines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are setting up, the expiration date or the retention period of that. In case the date, the expiration date was happen, it's been expired the password. When you run the pipeline, it will go and check it again the passwords, right?
It will fail. If your password
Yeah.
is expired, your key vault, your pipeline will fail.
So in that case, how do we update? Because we have many pipelines, we didn't remember, right? This is going to be expired.
Okay, so that is something you should, whoever created the pipeline will get the notification, not the pipeline, sorry. Whoever created the key vault, that person will get the notification, and he should go and change the expiration date in that case. If he's not able to, suppose he forgot, this key vault will be disabled basically. The status what you see right now, it is enabled right now. This will be disabled and you need to go and change the expiration date again. And when it is disabled, you need to enable it. Okay, that is something manually you did it.
Okay.
Manually you need to do. The person who has created the keyword, he needs to do it. And suppose for XYZ reason that person left the company, so the person with equal permission can do the same thing. Or else if you want, create a new vault, do the same process, integrate with your variable group and change everything in the pipeline. This is the use case which you're talking about. This has happened with me. Okay, I have set up all my pipelines using Key Vault in my current project, and the person who has created the Key Vault has left the company basically, and suddenly in the midnight all the pipelines started failing because the password was expired, and because no one had access to the vault, I was not able to use the same key vault again for my pipeline. So what I have to do, I have to go back, create a new vault, create new secret, add everything and change in my variable group. That is where variables plays a very important role. Now imagine if I would have passed everything as a in my task as a hard-coded things, it was a nightmare for me. Just because I have everything in my variable group in my library, I just went ahead and made changes over here. Just change the key vault name and change the variable. That's it. I was done. All my pipeline was automatically integrated. Just imagine if I'm hard coding everything. Now you can even pass on vault tasks, guys. There is a way. You might see in your companies. There is a way. If you want to, don't use this variable group option, and if you want to pass this vault option, this task, if you want to keep it over here, even this is the option. But what is the disadvantage of this option is, in such scenario, in such use cases, you have to go inside the task, change everything. Now imagine you have 1000 pipelines who is using this key vault. You have to go inside those 1000 pipelines and change the key vault values. So this is something I don't recommend. The best is using library option. Okay, so yeah, this happens. If you forgot the expiration, either change the expiration, enable your key vault again, or create a new one for yourself. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay guys, so tomorrow and day after we'll have small topics, nothing major. So I want you guys to practice all these 3 projects again, and Monday onwards we'll start with configuration management or Terraform. Let's see what I start, but mostly I'll start with Ansible itself, and then we'll start with Terraform. Post that we will have Docker, Kubernetes. Once we have the Kubernetes setup, then we'll start with Helm, Istio. Okay, so that's it for me. Thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's continue with Azure DevOps. Bye bye.